Hello and welcome to episode 285 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
Where's Baylis?
We don't know. We think he's stuck on a train. But I mean, he did send a picture of a beer at 12:30 this afternoon. So he might well be on a train. It may not be the right train, but it is a train. So we don't know. But Harry, how could Baylis watch if you wanted to follow us?
Yes, we're the Wall 77 Club everywhere apart from X, which is at 77 Club Podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please like us. Please rate us. Please share us. Do the Christmas thing and share it around. Thank you.
It is for giving and receiving. Jack Williams is here.
Ho, ho, bloody ho, everybody.
Well, Harry, before we obviously get on to the win against Leicester, let's start with the manager, Vitor Pereira. He hadn't quite been announced, all but announced, I think, last podcast. So I think you watched his press conference. Just what are your thoughts on him to begin with and the sort of vibe that he was giving off?
Yeah, I think when we last did the podcast, there was pictures of his plane flying across, weren't there? So we knew he was joining. And yeah, we were just speaking about it before we come on. He was all smiles, looked really happy to be manager. A lot of the beginning of the press conference, I don't know if it's because of the questions he got asked, but he was just on about his dream to be a Premier League manager and the journey he's been on. And for that reason, he wants to give it his all. And he came across well. He said everything right, in my opinion. You know, he spoke about wanting a tactical identity, which stuck out for me because I don't know about you, like under O'Neill, I couldn't tell you what our identity was at times. He talked about discipline and the players, you know, enjoying playing for the shirt, and he wanted to play players in the correct position. So everything he said was really good to hear from a Wolves fan point of view. And he reminds me a little bit. I think he's a bit more charismatic and a bit more wanting to be in the press conference than Nuno, but the way he comes across, obviously same nationality, and they sound a little bit similar. It did remind me a bit of what Nuno's press conferences used to be like, but because it was his first one, he had a lot to say. But I think a lot of his press conferences going forward will be very mundane, which I don't care as long as we're winning, to be honest. I mean, I've had enough of O'Neill, how much he used to waffle on. So yeah, first thoughts, I was very impressed with it. I thought he handled it well. And yeah, I was excited for the Leicester game, which we'll get on to.
Good point on Nuno's press conference, Harry. I think we were sort of banging our heads against the wall, weren't we, when he was saying that we need to find solutions. That always sticks in my head. Jack, for you, Harry mentioned Pereira's attitude. Seems like it is absolutely his dream. He will probably be trying a lot more. How does that compare to someone like Gary O'Neill? I know you've picked it up on previous podcasts of Gary O'Neill didn't seem like he cared, or it didn't really affect him on a personal level, or he wasn't hurting on a personal level. This seems to be a little bit different.
Yeah, those comments, as I said in previous weeks, just annoyed me because obviously I think he should be hurting because ultimately the book stops with him, doesn't it? And it's on him to get results. And Gary O'Neill knew the situation when he came into the club, didn't he? He knew that's the reason we got him. The reason we got him is that he was prepared after Lopetegui threw his toys out the pram. He was prepared to come in, work with what he'd got, work under these constraints. So, you know, a year and a half later or so, you can't really just be saying, well, you know, it's not my fault because of this X, Y, and Z, because you knew that when you signed up to it, and you didn't complain about it when everything was going really well, which it was at one point. So, yeah, it was nice. It was a bit of quite refreshing and a nice change. It's good that we've got someone who obviously clearly does want to be here. I agree with Harry's thing a little bit where he's sort of whether he actually wants to be at Wolves or not, or just in the Premier League, I don't know. But if he wins and does it for us, I don't think it matters. It's a kind of bit like that scene from The Simpsons where there's a band playing and he has to look on the back of his guitar to see where they're playing. It says Springfield. He's like, thank you, Springfield. It's a bit like that, but with Wolves. I'm really happy to be here in Wolverhampton. but you know, he was saying a lot of the right things. I like the fact that he wasn't being baited into questions, and you know, when he had that press conference, he'd only taken one training session, so he was upfront about that. He's like, well, I can't pick my captain yet because I've only seen him for, you know, a morning really. So you know, and you can't really fault him now because we all know what happened afterwards, didn't we? So everyone thinks he's a genius already, but we'll come on to that in a minute. But, you know, all positive, and it's all smiles on this podcast and in the comments, I think, for the first time in quite a while. So,
Definitely. Yeah, everyone seems very optimistic. But Harry, I think lots of people saying exactly that in the comment section, which is it's amazing what a difference 3 points makes. It's amazing what a difference 3 goals in without sort of conceding 6 in the process. Were you surprised by how bad Leicester were, or do you think this was an opportunity for fringe players not only to actually go into starting 11, especially if they speak Portuguese, it seems, but also, fighting for a place and trying to impress a new manager?
Yeah, that's what excited me coming out of the press conference. You could just tell he was going to give people on the fringe a chance. So Rodrigo Gomez, Guedes. I just had a gut feeling Sarr would be back in as well, just because of the Portuguese link. I just thought, yeah, he'll be back in. And obviously, João Gomez returned from his suspension. But I love the way he set it up, 3-4-3, which a lot of people kind of predicted that because he has been known to play that formation. But having Rodrigo Gomez left wing back was a good pick because he did play right wing back for his former club. So it wasn't a mad decision. There was logic behind it. I love the fact that he swapped Semedo and Doc round. I thought that worked really well. It was much better having Doc as the right centre back. Just we saw Semedo get bullied a bit against Ipswich. And I thought Semedo linked really well with Guedes on the day as well. So in terms of the starting lineup, lads, I've been crying out for Guedes to have a run in the team starting. I've wanted it this whole season, really. But for some reason, O'Neill didn't really want to start Guedes. He did a few times. Everton away, I know he had a stinker that game. He didn't really rate Rodrigo Gomez after pre-season. He was impressive, but then he didn't really give him a chance after Arsenal. Started away at Fulham and played well in that 4-1 win. So I'm surprised. And obviously the game after with a disaster against Bournemouth. But yeah, I was really happy with the starting lineup. I was really happy with the way we were pressing from early. Bit of a scare, wasn't it, early on when Vardy went through, but just cool, calm and collected. It helped that Leicester can't defend for toffee, it must be said. But it was a huge game. There was huge pressure on it. And the players, Vitor and his staff, and even the supporters who travelled were brilliant. And it was a perfect game. And I was absolutely buzzing to watch it. And it just felt like a huge improvement in literally 2 days of him training with them. And I think it shows as well, a lot of those players seem happy that O'Neill has walked. I think there was a lot more gone on behind the scenes than we're led to believe because Sarr weren't even making squads. And I think they made up the fact he had a shoulder injury. I just think he fell out with O'Neill. And there's a few others you could probably put into that category as well. But buzzing and particularly happy for Guedes and Rodrigo Gomez, definitely.
I mean, a welcome return from a Wolves point of view for Connor Cody. Jack, sorry. I mean, what were your thoughts on him? I mean, we've seen it so many times. Obviously, it was years ago now. Sort of, I think you messaged the group saying, "No, that is some classic Connor Cody masterclass of defending." In some of those situations,
it was quite refreshing to watch a team defend worse than us, and I think we definitely saw that with Leicester. I can see why their own fans were so frustrated because I think from their point of view, every goal was avoidable, wasn't it? Really, I mean, you can point to the goalkeeper, you can point to obviously their defender just leaving it for the Rodrigo goal, and yeah, they should have done better with the Guedes one, really, shouldn't they? So it was a bit of a calamity of errors from their part, but we'll take whatever we can get, and especially. I said you've got to give the manager credit on this because he's came in for just a few days. He's just obviously put something in the players in the fact that he's putting confidence in them to actually go and play in their positions and these sorts of things, which I think is refreshing and we didn't always see under O'Neill. Taken a chance on some of the fringe players. Obviously, it seems like he probably does favour some of the Portuguese lads, but that's absolutely fair enough. And it was just, it was just good all round, wasn't it? It was just one of those days. Like, when have we ever been 3-0 up at half time? I think you said it, Harry, it's the first time it's ever happened, isn't it? So it's the definition of a dream start, really. And I think even when he was asleep on Saturday night, he wouldn't have dreamt it being that good at half time, 3-0 up away from home at half time against the team who's directly above you in a relegation battle. So yeah, it's absolutely dreamland. And all the fringe players who came in, all the players who have been at the forefront before and not performed, likes of Jose Sarr, just came in and everyone gave a really good performance. And apart from the early scare, I think, so the through ball where Jose Sarr came out and saved it with his face basically to Vardy, apart from that, we really limited Leicester to chances because there was another one they had in the first half, but I think that would have got flagged for offside because it was clearly off the first pass. So that's the one where I think I think Toty got a little flick on it, didn't he? And it put Vardy off. So that was the only real panic moment, I think. And apart from the moments where they did just again try and basically play a quick through ball to Vardy, there was very little. And in the second half, we just sort of said, right, you've got to try and break us down now. And they couldn't do it, could they? And we arguably should have had another one or two because Gomez had a golden chance. Santi Breno had that good header. And Gomez had another one, actually. Gomez had 2 chances, didn't he, in that second half? So that could have easily finished 4 or 5. And it's just so refreshing to see, really, where we just seem to play together as a team. Everyone knows their roles. We go and put pressure on them early and never look back. And I know the doubters will say, it's Leicester, but, we lost to Ipswich last week, who were lower in the table than them. So you just got to go and turn up against these teams. And out of nowhere, like, everyone's just buzzing now. And going into a game against Man United, who, got battered themselves yesterday, we're looking at that and just suddenly thinking, we can turn up again here. So really pleased. Couldn't have asked for a better start. All the players who played a part on Sunday, they came in and whoever they were, they did a job and they all performed at levels of 7 and 8 out of 10, which we've not been seeing under O'Neill because we've had situations where we've been saying, I think all of our players are out of form. And obviously that wasn't it because they've come back now and it looks like they're all bloody in form. I know it's one game, can't carry it away, but it's Christmas, so I will get carried away.
It's my party and I'll get carried away if I want to. Dav Flav says, Knox to get carried away. Leicester are poor, but I do think we should have enough to finish a couple of places above relegation. Would be good to have a new centre-back. Harry, the centre-backs I thought did well. There were a couple of moments, as Jack said, and the one where sort of Vardy was through on goal and Sarr, I think, did either well or was lucky. I'd probably say he did well when it sort of came up off his chest. Looked like it could have been a handball, in which case we'd been in a world of trouble because it would have been a red card. But it's just those fine margins, isn't it? And like you say, the one that sort of Totti just brushed and got away from Vardy.
Yeah, they did well, but Totti Gomez did have his little shaky moments. That one when he kind of messed up and it went to Vardy, but then he got back and blocked it on the line. Like Jack said, he would have been offside for that anyway. But that's Totti, isn't it? He's always looked like Bambi, hasn't he? He's always got that nerving moment in him. That's the way he is. But I thought he did okay. Santi and Doc were brilliant, I thought. And and I think it was huge as well, because it was a big talking point going into it. The fact that Cunha was available, because I thought the ban would have been announced by this game. And he had a really good game as well. Obviously got his goal. He should have got a few assists as well. That Gomez header, when he whipped it into him, that should have been a goal. And I think a lot of the narrative around Leicester are crap and all that. West Ham went there and lost 3-1. I mentioned on the podcast last week, I don't know how, because West Ham did batter them. Maybe it was just manager bounce from Rude. People are saying, is this just a manager bounce from Vitor? Maybe. But for me, there was a lot of signs there that were much better. The shape, I thought we were passing it around a lot better, which a lot of people are saying in the comments. I agree with that. Whereas under O'Neill, it looked like we couldn't string 2 passes together. Set piece defending. They had a few corners and a few crosses in. It looked a lot better. It did. They looked more assured. I don't know what he tweaked, but he tweaked something, and we managed to survive them. There was one that went deep back post, which was probably the most worrying one from memory. And you're not telling me, I will never know, but if that Gary O'Neill was in charge for that game, there's no way we win that game 3-0. So that is a big difference. And I think pumping a lot of confidence into them. And I love the fact that Rodrigo Gomez started. I want him to get a run in the team now. It baffled me that O'Neill wasn't. I think in hindsight as well, it might sound bad. I said this on my own video after the game. I think it was good that Lamina was banned, because I hope he wasn't been tempted to squeeze 3 midfielders in if he was available. We'll see what happens when he gets back. But I think it worked well without him in there. I'm sorry to say it, but it's the truth. Andre and Gomez have got a good understanding together. They just have. They've had a few good performances together, and Lamina being in there is just throwing things out. I mean, like O'Neill was putting him centre back just to start him, wasn't he? So that'll be interesting to see when he returns. It'd be interesting to see what happens when Aït-Nouri returns, because to drop Rodrigo Gomez after that would be slightly harsh, although Cunha won't be available. So, Hwang come on, didn't he? Didn't look the best. Tommy Doyle come on, and a few others. So but I trust Vitor to make the right decision now. So when Cunha is banned, whatever he does, I'll be like, yeah, man, we'll go with whatever you want to do. He's going to see him in training. Whereas when O'Neill was about to make a decision, apart from the lucky team he picked at Fulham, I'd always be like, oof, don't really agree with that. So yeah, I get all the concerns. I get people saying don't get carried away, but sod it, man. I want to get carried away. We've had torrid time this season. Let us get carried away with a 3-0 win away from home. The way we've been playing, that's a minor miracle to get that result.
Niall says, we saw Lima and Rodrigo play over here in Florida for the preseason. They were on fire. Would love to see Lima get some game time. Obviously, Jack, Pereira, the manager's got a decision to make, and I imagine he'll probably stick with Semedo, which means that we probably won't see people like Pedro Lima, but obviously Rodrigo coming back into it is a bonus. How do you think Semedo played? Because I thought he was playing some brilliant passes and sort of he'd shown glimpses this season, but he seemed a lot more consistent through this 90 minutes.
Yeah, he did it right, and he got forward a few times as well, didn't he? And got in some decent positions, which he definitely just, with his pace. And we've said before, he's got pace about him, but his end product is woeful in terms of finishing, isn't it? But it's nice to see him getting in those positions. So I think this is a chance. Well, we've seen it already, but this is a chance for all the players in the squad. You think they probably weren't getting enough game time under O'Neill. And straight away, we've had two players just obviously calling out Rodrigo Gomez and Guedes, as we already have, who've really just taken their chance and really put their name on the map there. So I think we need to focus on Guedes a little bit more, because that first half performance from him was the best I've ever seen him play by a long way. He was absolutely brilliant. They didn't know how to handle him. A goal and assist, and involved in many other different sort of plays as well. So absolutely outstanding from him. Obviously, second half wasn't as great, but we just said to Leicester, come on, break us down and we'll see what we can do on the break. And even then we look promising. So brilliant. Rodrigo Gomez, the thing that I noticed as well, and I don't know if you guys agree, is I was really impressed with him defensively. I think he did really well. He got involved at some really key moments and got some key interceptions. So it wasn't just about his goal and the fact that he was switched on to, sort of nick that goal really from Leicester's poor defending. But I think defensively he came in and did really, really well. So that's promising as well, because how many times have we praised defenders in the last few months? It's all good. It's a complete fresh start for everybody, and I'm genuinely just shocked at how better it looked after just 3 days in charge. It's crazy, really. And I think it does show that there is talent in this squad, as we've said all along. And hopefully we can get someone in there who just brings the confidence back into this team, and we can start to get ourselves out this mess we're in. Because again, we've said before, but I know we somehow lost to Ipswich last week, but there's three teams that came up. If we don't finish above all of them, we deserve to go down, really, I think, because of what I've seen, there's not much of them. So we'll see how it goes. It's early days, but it's just refreshing, man. It's just nice to have this little breath of fresh air, just to, a bit of wind into our sails as Wolves fans, because it's been crap this year on the whole, and it really. So it's just nice, and looking into the festive season. And I know we've got difficult fixtures coming up, and I know on paper it gets tough again. And we should have picked up more points in November and December because we were playing teams in the bottom half and around us. But if we can just get that fire back, and like we've had, this Wolves team throughout the time back in the Premier League, where we play with no fear, no matter who we're playing against, we will suddenly start picking up points against teams that are in the top half. And, on paper, you think are better than us or bigger clubs than us.
Absolutely. I thought the fans were great at King Power as well. Harry, loud, supportive, good reception for Connor Cody, which shows, if you respect the badge, then you'll be treated with it the same thing back, I suppose. Not an iPad in sight either, Harry.
You had a notebook. Old school. Old school. You had a pen and paper. That was it.
Yeah. It's so much. It's nice, and it is nice to see that. The iPad thing was winding everyone up, and a joy to see him actually stood on the sideline like the old days. Just on Rodrigo Gomez as well. I don't know if you lads saw it. His post-match interview. What a bloke! Like, he's the most likable lad. He looks. He's only early 20s, isn't he? So he does look really young. And they asked him about his celebration, because obviously he ran off doing like the heart thing. And he said he did it to his girlfriend, because obviously he's alone, and she moved over with him. And he's just one of them interviews where you're like, oh man, what a lad! Like, butter wouldn't melt and all that rubbish. I know, I fancy him a bit. I went and watched. Go on,
it's you, Harry.
I was just saying. I remember when we beat Fulham, Rodrigo Gomez looked like the happiest person in the place by a long way. He was absolutely buzzing. So I think he really does care. Yeah,
and he took it well. He took it well, considering O'Neill dropped him after pre-season. I'd been fuming if I was him, but he's took it well, kept his head down, had a few stinkers in there that, let's not get it wrong, but we're struggling as a team. But Yeah, like I say, Fulham and this one, he's been brilliant. But what a lad! I was just going to say, I watched Sonic the Hedgehog 3 yesterday. He reminds me a bit of Sonic the Hedgehog, a little lad running up and down that wing. I went and watched it and I thought, oh, Sonic's left wing back. Well, there we go. We're never losing today.
Did you go with the kids or just fancied it?
I just went on my own. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I took my son.
Well, look, as it's Christmas, a real gift for us is, or for me anyway, is to ask you both who the man of the match was, because I don't think I've asked for weeks, maybe if not months. So Jack, I'll start with you, man of the match.
I mean, it's got to be Guedes, isn't it? It's just that first half performance was, as I said, the best I've not just seen from Guedes, but probably one of the best you've seen from a Wolves player this season. It was that good, and it just shows that we've had glimpses of it. I know it was difficult when he first came over and he was homesick and then went back, but this is a real chance for him now, and I'm sure he would have probably at the start of the season wanted to go back out on loan somewhere or get a permanent transfer to Spain somewhere, but it's the opportunity for him now, because he's suddenly, people have just noticed that, and he's getting praises from the pundits and everything. So there's an opportunity for now. If he wants it, he can grab with both hands.
Stephen says, nice to see the panel less stressed and jovial. It is nice, Stephen, to be back laughing rather than sort of crying. James says it's Guedes, still with E, says Andre. Matt says Guedes as well. Paul says Rodrigo and Guedes were our best players in pre-season. They both deserve a start. Stephen says Semedo, shout out for him for man of the match. Who's yours, Harry?
Yeah, well, I agree. I agree it is Guedes. He was my man of the match. But yeah, Semedo, brilliant. Set up the first, didn't he? Although it did bounce a bit weird. He was heavily involved in Cunha's goal. I thought Cunha was really good as well. Like, especially second half of that chance he created for Gomez, he looked lively. Like we mentioned, Rodrigo Gomez. Andre deserves a mention. He's had a few stinkers towards the end of Gary O'Neill's reign, but he was fantastic. Especially second half, him and Gomez, the way they just shielded the back line and just saw out the game. But yeah, Guedes, goal and assist, looked threatening. Everyone moans about his body language and the fact he just does not look like he cares, but he went mental when we scored the third, if you saw. So that's a good sign. Interesting one with him. Whether he'll be a Wolves player next season, I don't know. Not because he's not good enough, or because I don't know if he actually wants to be here. It's hard to tell. I hope he does, because he's a fantastic player. But yeah, it's got to be Guedes for man of the match.
Excellent. Okay, we have a clean sweep of Guedes's. Let's have a look at the festive fixture list. Jack, up next, Manchester United. You talked about saying we've got tough fixtures sort of through the end of the calendar year, but obviously one of them is Man United at home and Tottenham, and you don't really know this season which either of those sides are going to turn up. Obviously, Man United spanked by Bournemouth 3-0 at Old Trafford. Was it 6-3 in the end, the Liverpool-Tottenham game? But if we stick with Man United at the moment, I was looking at some stats for this one. Man United have won more matches, which is 22, and scored more goals, 74, on Boxing Day than any other side in Premier League history. Thoughts on that? Obviously not potentially a great time to play them, but also potentially a good time to play them.
Yeah, well, they used to be really good, didn't they? So I wouldn't worry about that too much, because I'm sure a lot of those goals were probably under the Alex Ferguson era, weren't they? So I try not to get too into these sort of superstition stats. I mean, the thing they will want after obviously losing at home to Bournemouth is a reaction. I think we'll obviously go into this game, they will be strong favourites. I mean, yeah, they definitely are. However, they will also be looking at this game and thinking, oh, bloody hell. So we've got to play Wolves now. New manager. They've just won 3-0. We've lost 3-0. This might not be as simple as we were hoping it should be on paper. And when you look at the table, they've only got 22 points they've got, which I know even in our position, they're not out of sight compared to us when how bad our season's been. So this is an opportunity now. Any home game, I think, is an opportunity. Everyone's going to be up for it, because Vito's managed to put the sort of the fight and the love back in it, and the fans are going to be buzzing. Day after Christmas, late kickoff, Boxing Day, everyone's going to be hammered. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. Apart from Harry, of course. So it's one of those again where we're going to be up for it. So it's up for Manchester United to come and play us off the park and beat us, and I think they'll be nervous about it. So just go there and just do what we did again. Try and play with no fear and do what we can do. So yeah, shouldn't be scared about this. We should be more scared about other fixtures coming up than this one by a long way.
I totally agree. Harry, I know that it was a couple of years ago, but under the lights after Christmas against a club from Manchester, an incredible night. I think you turned at the pub about 10 a.m. and I think it was about 7:30 kickoff from memory. So it was a bit of a late one, slightly different for you this time around. How would you approach this one? Because I've been looking at sort of what the latest is with Cunha and people thinking, how impending is this ban? According to PremierLeague.com, which was last updated a couple of hours ago, he's not on the suspended list. So the only people that are out, obviously the usual suspects. Lemina's down in the injured list without a reason. Got a couple of players on 4 yellow cards. Ryan Aït-Nouri will be available again, although he's still on 4. Totti Gomez on 4. And obviously Lemina on 4, but he won't play.
Say something, Jack?
Just a quick question. Do we think like the disciplinary committee have just all broken up for Christmas? And
that'd be
that's
great,
why they haven't got around to it yet? Because I think maybe they finished on like the 19th, because like after he's been charged with it, and if there's no appeal, then surely it should be pretty simple to decide on it. So, but this is good for us if it drags on as long as possible, because if they haven't done it already, I don't think they're going to be putting it out on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, are they? So it looks like he's probably going to be available, but that could change very quickly. But
my fear is the delay means it's going to be a big ban. I feel like they're thinking, right, can we do this? Like they're considering their options, and I hope I'm wrong. Like I think it'd be a minimum of 5. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe he did, because he had to respond, didn't he? He had till the Thursday to respond last week. So maybe he did respond, and maybe he might have said what the security guard said. We don't know, do we? So they might be going through it all, trying to get evidence. I hope he's available for Man United. Because of how well he played against Leicester. And look, come on, Cunha's got a huge miss, isn't he? He's our best player. There's no doubt about it. Is that 9 goals he's got now? Yeah. But in terms of Man United, Paddy Powell put a hilarious video out. I don't know if you saw it, about he played a Man United fan getting excited every time they've had a new manager since Sir Alex, going, this is the one, this is our time. And then everyone, they're like, not looking good, this. But yeah, so they've obviously they were buzzing, weren't they? When they beat Man City 2-1 away the other week, back then, if you'd have asked me how we're going to get on Boxing Day, I'd have been like, there's no chance we're going to get any kind of result. Fast forward a few games later, and I can't believe I'm quietly optimistic. I don't want to get too carried away, because obviously they're going to have their tails up. After losing 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, they will want a response. We're in a good place. I trust Vitor to set up in a way that can beat Man United. And like Jack said, they're vulnerable, man. They're down there. They're like in the bottom half of the table. They're there to be beat. Everything's not rosy there. There's a bit of pressure on their manager now. So if we can set up well, play with a bit of confidence, there's no reason why we can't, especially a Molineux that will be rocking after beating Leicester and having the new manager bounce. Molineux will be rocking on Boxing Day on a late kickoff as well. And we've done well against Man United, haven't we, on night games like late kickoff in the recent times. We had some of our best nights, obviously the FA Cup quarter-final being one. But yeah, I can't, like, if O'Neill was still in charge, like I've said, I would not have any hope at all. But I'd take a draw, to be honest, but a win would be amazing. But I don't know, man. It could go either way.
Jack's DY89 says Rodrigo Gomez said in his interview after the game that his natural position from his time in Portugal last season was a left wing back, played really well there. Ryan Aït-Nouri has to fight to get back in. Do you think there's a case then, if he is slightly better left wing back, that there would be an argument to swap them round?
Possibly, potentially. I think it's going to be very brutal, but my prediction for the team against Man United is there'll be one change, and it'll be Aït-Nouri coming in for Gomez. I think that'll probably be it. That's on the assumption that obviously Cunha and everyone is available, and I think it will be harsh, but I think, when we need to see Aït-Nouri under the new manager, because I know he's been a bit bit hit and miss, a bit attitude in the wrong place. Obviously Dawson carried him off the pitch just a week ago, so there's a few things there to iron out, but he's another one of them, and he's like Cunha. When he's on it, he's one of our best players, and if they can get him back to sort of performing like he did do in spells under O'Neill, to be fair, then I think we need to see it. So I think it'll be harsh on Gomez, but that's if there's going to be one change, it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't change it. I think if it's the same team, I'll be perfectly happy with that. I think it'll be fine. The other question mark coming in will obviously be Lemina, which I just don't know. I think stick with it as much as you can, considering how well it went, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's tricky, isn't it, Harry? I mean, it looks like Man United are going to be playing 5 at the back again. I mean, Harry Maguire coming back into the fold. You thought he was sort of done in the summer and stuff. It'd be really interesting to see him against Cunha. I think João Gomez has probably got to really pull his finger out and start putting some of these chances away, because we could be putting games to bed long before they need to be. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I've said for weeks now, I don't mind us going forward. I get what you mean with João Gomez, but we were 3-0 up anyway. But if that was 2-2, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you? So I get your point. And it's not really his job to score goals. Obviously, he's going to contribute a bit getting forward, but I thought he had a good game. Just on Aït-Nouri, I'm going to say something really controversial, which a lot of people will disagree with. He's becoming the type of player for me, which... Remember Neil Warnock, what he said about Tarat back in the day for QPR, when he's like, you don't come past the halfway line, and if anybody passes to him in our half, you get fined. I could see him like replacing Cunha and playing Cunha's role, just giving him. Because remember under O'Neill when he had to play up there, and I think we beat Fulham 2-1. He got us back in the game, or put us ahead against Coventry in the quarterfinal. I don't think it will happen, because obviously we've got Hwang, we've got other options, Forbes, haven't we, to go there, but I wouldn't be against that, putting Aït-Nouri up there. But like I said, it won't happen.
I wouldn't. I'd completely agree with that. I think he's so good with the ball at his feet that, he's a bit like Traore in a sense, where you think, actually, he's got the ball. You probably won't get it off him. What he will do is either put it in Rose Ed, or he'll go out for a throw-in on the other side. That's sort of like where I am. But yeah, exactly. But I think Aït-Nouri's slightly got a little bit more of a football brain than Traore. Yeah.
I just when you mentioned Hwang then, and I was just thinking back to when he came on, and I just had a flashback. Do you remember we had a really promising break just after he came on seconds, and then someone played him a pass and he decided to play a dummy when there was nobody there, and we just broke
rolled out.
It was like straight away.
Here he is.
Like, for God's sake, man! Like, and that to me shows a striker with no confidence, because you wouldn't be leaving that if you're in hot form, would you? Especially in a promising position, you'd be taking that on. Instead, he's tried to be clever, but I don't know who he saw, because there was nobody anywhere bloody near him. I don't know what was going on there. So if the option and the question is, would you rather play Aït-Nouri up there or Hwang at the moment? I'd rather play Aït-Nouri, thank you.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think it'd be really interesting. I think the mood, having beaten Leicester, Harry, will just be completely different to probably if we'd have been playing this game, I imagine, last week. And also from the United fans as well, because they are, like you say, such a mixed bag. Beating City, losing to Bournemouth, 22 points. I think we're only 10 points behind them, and we've been saying how much of a shock we've had this season.
Yeah, I don't know what Man United's going to turn up. That's the thing. We've gone into games before, haven't we, in recent times, thinking we're going to win, and we've lost. But then it's also been the other way around, hasn't it? We've had a few famous fixtures. But I don't know, who's that young lad who got the winner against City? Is it Ahmad, the young kid who everyone's raving about? I'll be a bit worried about him. There's all this controversy and uncertainty around Rashford. So, yeah, they've still got great players, haven't they? I mean, I hate the bloke, but Bruno Fernandes on his day can change a game. So it'd be interesting. But it can go, like I say, it's hard to call, and it will go one or two ways. They're either going to respond really well to getting battered at home to Bournemouth, or they're just going to be low on confidence and we can take advantage of it. And I'd be interested to see how they handle the pressure. Is it on? Are we on telly?
Yeah, it's 5:30, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Prime games, I think.
Is it Prime?
They might all be on telly. I don't know. Actually, it's
definitely on telly. You're going, yeah?
I'm actually going. It's my annual home game of the season, yeah, because it's Christmas.
Grace us with your presence. I mean, Harry, a win and we could be out the relegation zone. We certainly will be if we do win, because Leicester play Liverpool, but that is an 8:00 kickoff. So even if it's a couple of hours outside of it, which is good news. But kick us off with a score prediction.
Oh, I jokingly said we'd beat Leicester 3-1 didn't I, last week after being negative. I think there'll be goals. I'm going to be boring. I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to go for a 2-2. Quite an entertaining 2-2 draw, I think.
You take it out. Go on, Jack.
I was going to say 2-2, but I think score draw is the way to go. And I know that I said we'd lose 2-0 to Leicester, but I'll be buzzing with a point here. So I'll stick with the draw and go 1-1.
1-1. Okay, I have a good feeling about this. So I'm going to obviously go 2-1 Wolves. Let's have a look at a nice little fun quiz to finish off. We have a Premier League quiz. I mean, I was thinking about doing this sort of before we beat Leicester, and it was going to be along the lines of it's on the Premier League and Wolves, and will this be our last Christmas in the Premier League? But I'm going to be positive, but I'm still going to do it anyway because I haven't planned for anything else. So who would like to go first?
Baylis.
Baylis can go first. We'll do Jack and Harry in that order. Some of these are going to be very easy. Some of them are going to be difficult. I didn't write them. It's not my fault. Jack, here we go. In which season were Wolves promoted to the Premier League for the first time?
So our first season was 2003-2004.
It's incorrect. Obviously, the season that we were promoted is 02-03.
That's why I worded it like that. That's why I worded it in that way.
I've got to take your first answer.
No, come on. No, but it's not incorrect because that's ambiguous, isn't it? Come on.
As it's Christmas, I'll give you the
Thank you. I was specific about my wording for a reason there, because that was ambiguous.
Harry, for 2 points. I'm joking. Only 1 point. Who was the Wolves manager when they were promoted to the Premier League for the first time?
But yeah, my mind actually went blank.
I saw that when
Dave Jones.
Dave Jones is correct. Jack, how many years had Wolves been outside the top flight of English football? I think you actually gave this
19. I said this last week. Yeah.
I'll finish the question.
The days.
Top flight of English football when they were promoted to the Premier League.
I don't know the days. I know there's a toaster on the
19
banner.
is very good. Go on, Harry. Are you going to say something then?
Do you know the days?
No.
No, it's many, many days.
Well, it's got to be. I think you think about when promotion works. It's got to be like 200 and something days, isn't it? Because it's not going to be a year, but it's going to be the whole season. So yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it's more than 200. 200,000. 20.
No. So 19 years, 200 and something days. Is
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
232 rings a bell. I'm not sure why. Harry, after being promoted to the Premier League for the first time, how many seasons did Wolves remain there before being relegated?
Oh, we had this question the other week, and I got it right, but because you worded it weird, you got it wrong. So we spent 3 seasons there, didn't we?
No, 1.
What? Read that again.
The first
we got relegated.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant 09. I thought you meant the McCarthy era. I didn't listen. That's my fault. I didn't listen to the question properly. 03, yeah, 1 season. Sorry.
I've been at school with you again. Right, okay. Back round to Jack. Takes the lead. Because Harry didn't listen.
Sorry.
Under Mick McCarthy, Wolves won the championship in 2008-2009 and were promoted to the Premier League for the second time. Who was the top scorer that season?
Oh, nah.
Sylvan Ebanks-Blake. Yes.
Does that do? Yeah, that's all I need to give it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That comment made me laugh, Sam. Sorry.
Which one was that? 200,000 days. That's nearly 600 years. I know, yes. Boy, my maths is not my strong point.
It's not that bad, Sam.
Harry, after being promoted to the Premier League for the second time, how many seasons did Wolves remain there before being relegated?
Am I getting deja vu?
Yeah. So, no, just listen.
Read the question again. Are we talking the McCarthy area?
After being promoted to the Premier League for the second time, how many seasons did Wolves remain there before being relegated?
It was definitely 1. It was definitely 1. I'm joking.
No,
3. Obviously 3.
Yes,
obviously 3. That's what I thought you asked me last time.
He was doing a Christmas joke. Jack, in Nuno's first season as manager, Wolves won the championship in 2017-2018 and were promoted to the Premier League for the 3rd time. How many points did they win the championship with?
Oh, Christ. 103.
Do you know what? That is not the answer. It is 99. 99 points.
Yes, it was. We lost away to Sunderland, didn't we?
What was it under McCarthy? Sorry. What
80 odd? 90 odd?
Yeah, 86.
Because we were close to the record. Is 103 the record? Is it? Is that?
Yeah, 103. Reading got, I think, with Doyle and all that. Just a few years before we went up. Yeah, it was 99. Because I remember we went away to Sunderland, didn't we? And he played all the kids in Uno, and everyone was a bit annoyed. They wanted to hit the 100-point mark, and we lost 3-0 to already relegated Sunderland. I remember that.
Yeah, and I think Sunderland have got one of the records for the most points in the championship as well. Because when they got promoted under, I can't remember who it would have been now. Would it have been Roy Keane?
Roy Keane?
No, I don't know if they lost the first 5, so I doubt it. I doubt they got a record.
The comments will know.
That is correct.
They know more than we do.
Harry, up until their return to the Premier League, what position did Wolves finish in that 2018-19 season?
Right, hold on. Say that again. I'm frying my own brain. Say that again.
Upon their third return to the Premier League, what position did Wolves finish in the 18-19 season? It's easy.
Oh, 7th, yes.
It is 7th. Jack, who was Wolves' top scorer in that 2018-19 season in the Premier League?
Really? Jack?
Hang on.
I can give you multiple choice if you want multiple choice.
No,
I don't know if it will help.
Choice.
I don't want multiple choice. Hang on, I'm just thinking.
Premier League goal.
It's got to be Jota.
It's Jimenez.
I thought Jimenez.
Yeah. Okay.
Everyone in the comments, I've still got the comments on, by the way, lads. I ain't cheated yet, by the way. Everyone in the comments was saying Jota, so you weren't the only one, Jack. Yeah, it's definitely him.
Yeah,
it's one or two, wasn't it? But it's just yeah. All right.
I mean, Harry, you've actually got a really easy one to potentially win this.
Well,
Wolves were bottom of the Premier League in December 2022. Which manager came in and saved them from relegation?
Julian Lopetegui.
Correct. Harry somehow wins the quiz this week for not listening to half the questions. Excellent. Right. Well, look, Merry Christmas to everybody. We hope you have a really good one. If you're heading to the game on Boxing Day, we hope to see you there. Don't get too drunk. Obviously, most people will be topping up from the night before. Hopefully, none of those people are our centre-backs, as could have been said from some of the defending this year. Harry, it's a goodbye from you.
Yeah. I don't know if this is our last one of the year. Is it?
I don't know. Maybe we'll do one after Spurs.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's just a stupid week, isn't it? So if it comes together, then but if not, then we'll see you in 2025. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Just thank you, everyone. Everyone's saying that's a very brief podcast. That's what we do. If you want long form, go and listen to Dazzling Day. And sorry for Baylis for not turning up again. I've worked out. I think Baylis has not shown up more times than he has shown up this year. So more of that in 2025. So there we go.
Trevor, you're spot on. It's a goodbye from Jack Williams.
Yeah, cheers everybody. Hope you all have a lovely Christmas, and yeah, whether we see you before the new year or not, then just everyone have a good time, and thank you for listening.
Let's face it, we'll be doing a podcast if we beat Man United and Spurs. So we'll say
we'll do it straight after. We'll do it about 10 o'clock Boxing Day after 15.
I'll be pissed if that happens.
Excellent. Merry Christmas. Hope to see you soon. Thank you.